Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen. I've been doing this podcast since September of 2012, and boy, are my lips tired. This is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. Lynn isn't feeling very well today, so hopefully she will get better and we will have her back again next week. But this week we're going to go into a direction we don't go into very often. We're going to go into the creative realm. And this is particularly apropos because my guest is Alison Love David. Alison, I'm actually in the process of getting over a cold. I have been for the last couple of weeks, and the last few episodes that I've done haven't quite sounded like me. I'm starting to sound like myself again, so I'm getting my voice back. I'm getting my true voice back, which is quite appropriate because that's what you're all about, right? You're about helping people free your true voice. So I think there's like a synergy going on just with that theme alone. Welcome to the show.
That.
How you doing?
Thank you. I'm very well. And did you like your cold voice? Some people like it when they have a voice with the cold because it sounds husky or, has a different tone.
I always like having my original voice. I don't know. I've been told I have a radio voice, so I don't feel like I have to husk it up any.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
But I like sounding the way I know that I sound in my own head anyway. And so when I can hear the true resonance of it, that always feels good to me. And it's almost back. It's not 100%, but it's like 95%. So that's pretty good.
Good.
So
good
I'll
to
take
meet
the
you
podcast.
and your voice.
Yeah. Nice to meet you too. Well, let's get to know you a little bit more. Let's find out more about Alison David and how you basically decide to help people to find their true voice. There's a story behind that. It didn't just happen. It's not like one day you just popped up and said, I'm going to help people find their true voice. There was something that led up to that. Tell us what led up to that.
Oh gosh, there's so many things, but first of all, I guess it's because I've been a singer for my whole adult life.
Oh.
And the first thing is probably that I just found that when I was singing, whatever state I was in beforehand, I was better after singing. So I noticed the natural medicine of singing. And then the healing tool of the voice came in a little bit later, which I can talk to you about that as well.
We will definitely dive into that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the actual story of me when I had record deals and I was singing my songs and my message about how we can make our dreams come true and all this sort of personal growth stuff, and realizing that I didn't have the courage to speak up for myself. I couldn't.
Oh.
So I could sing, I could have this persona, I could sing, put messages that inspired in my songs, but in my actual personal and business life, I couldn't actually stand up for myself, ask for what I want, ask for help, set boundaries, any of it. So that's been the journey that has given me the passion to really help people to share what's really going on for them.
It's amazing how often the stories are about how we go through something ourselves. And then once we go through it, we realize, wow, everybody's got to know this. Everybody has to learn this. And that becomes the basis for the passion.
Absolutely. And we teach what we most need to learn.
Right. Yes, that's true. Yeah. Interesting also that you mentioned that you were singing about very positive themes about self-confidence and all that, having your own voice and so forth, and you weren't feeling it inside in your own life. What do you attribute that to? Why were you able to do it through song, but not in person?
It's not quite that, because I was making my dreams come true.
Okay.
Like, the origin story of this passion in me that's really strong. I was actually, I'd had just got a solo deal and I had my song Dreams Come True, and I was just making a pop video. I just had a baby and I got to wear a corset because I had big breasts. I don't know if that's okay. So, which is also a dream come true, which came and went. And so there I was doing a pop video and it was super exciting. And then, I was singing my song, "You can make your dreams come true, I believe." And that was my passionate phrase. And I mean, I thought law of attraction is just, I'm a very joyful person and I always have been. So spreading joy, and that was fine. It's just when the time came to actually film the video and the director said to me, no, you can't sing it with passion. You have to be like really like gentle and soft. And that wasn't the message, and I couldn't actually say no.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not quite. So yeah, so I've been always a quite happy person, quite a joyful person. So it wasn't like lack of joy or lack of, my belief, or I was living the dream. I was a singer, and so that wasn't there, but it was just, there was big gaps in my
Like a confidence gap?
Yeah, so personal confidence. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny. I meet people who are like super confident in their personal life, but wouldn't dream of getting on stage, where I'm super confident on stage, but would have found it difficult in a one-on-one conversation with somebody to say, well, actually, no, I don't agree with you, or I don't like that, or yeah.
It's funny, like you say, we all have different strengths and weaknesses, and you just laid out a couple of very broad avenues that we do have those strengths and weaknesses. The funny thing is, like you said, the strengths play out in areas where they could play out just as well in the weakness area, but for some reason we don't let it in.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Well, you talked about how you had confidence and you were singing with confidence in your songs, but you lacked the confidence in your personal life. So you were able to let it in one way, but not in the other way. It's a fairly common phenomenon. There are certain ways we're able to be or express or do or accomplish whatever it is that we value and hold high. And then there are other times where we just can't. A great way that I can think of to explain it is I've noticed that almost everybody who has come to understand law of attraction is interested in it because usually of one of three things. It's either something related to money, something related to health, or something related to relationships. Those are the big three. I mean, there are others that are careers, hobbies, all that kind of stuff. But those are the big three. And almost invariably, the person who has achieved some success is successful in two of them, but not all three.
Isn't that wonderful though? As you probably know that, well, I don't know how you see it, but I'm a big fan of Abraham Hicks. And,
me too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought you might be. And the fun part is that there is something always to do. There's always something to want. And so it's kind of wonderful at the same time, isn't it? To be able to have that extra thing that you're going to go for when you've got all the other things sorted. Keeps the attraction to life, like the adventure, running.
Yeah. Well, why would we want to be here otherwise? There's no point in being in this life if there's no growing to be done, if there's no improvement, if there's nothing, if there's no contrast, there's no polarity, if there's no ups and downs, why bother?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's part of the appreciation of it. So let's talk about how you ended up finding your own voice in your own life. How did that play out?
That's a good question. It's been an ongoing thing. I mean, the pathway to the natural, using it as a healing tool, was, oh gosh, it's so interesting. I mean, it goes all the way back to a time in my life when I was a teenager, and the three most important people in my life at the time was a boyfriend, a mother, and a best friend.
Okay.
And this is one of the sort of dangers of, like, it can be a danger of the law of attraction, the bypassing, where it's like all the beauty, all the good stuff, and no focusing on the bad. So these three people in my life, I used to say something and they used to interpret it completely the opposite. And I was 17 at the time when I realized, hang on a minute, there's a pattern here. When something is happening lots of times in your life, it's you that you got.
It takes a while to identify what it is, but it's there.
And it comes from you. It's like,
right.
So with the three people, they'd accuse me of saying all this stuff which didn't come out of my mouth, but they were interpreting what wasn't being said. Yeah. They were using their imagination to imagine what was being said underneath my words. And at that time I realized I did never say no, I don't like it. Stop it. I didn't bring any negativity in. And it was partly because I was a completely joyful person, but it was partly because I was completely in denial of what was going on for me. So if you can imagine that journey from 17 to I got into well, I don't know, man. I got into Abraham like in 2012, but I was into sort of all the Louise Hay and New Agey stuff from way before that.
Okay.
But that journey of getting to know myself and learning confidence to dare to express how I was feeling. It was very much supported by being in really good communities of people that would encourage me to feel safe. You know, one of the things I work with my clients is like finding safe spaces. Like I use the analogy of being a tortoise. You know, you come out, and if it's, or like a hedgehog or something, like, you know, you come out, and if it's safe, you'll stay out. But if it's scary, you'll go even further in than you were beforehand,
Yeah.
you know. So finding safe communities and being,
Mm-hmm.
that was super important. And yeah, the more that, so it's kind of that really. And then learning that I had a sound healing tool, which was more about being in steam rooms and saunas and doing toning and using this tool to heal me and massage
Talk
me.
about that, because that sounds really cool. I suspect a lot of people have not. I know I have never explored anything like that. So, you know, give us a taste of it.
So yeah, I guess then, so that's where that got really exciting. I wanted to teach everyone to know that you've got this amazing healing tool here. That was the first part. But then when I started to interact with people, I realized that there was even more, that the healing tool of your words is super important. And so yeah, that, came about. I mean, I was a singer. I was in a band once that they were all rehearsing. They play really loud and everyone can turn their volume up, but we got a limit here, right? So I strained my voice in a rehearsal.
Oh, yeah.
And my singing teachers gave me various things like drink 3 liters of water and be in a hot shower or bath with the door shut for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was partly that my relationship with steam. So I started to have a relationship with steam, and then I got a job in, and there was even before that, going to drum and bass clubs and standing in front of the speaker, and it's going vroom, 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 and feeling all my body and back against, and trying to give myself a massage with all the vibrations of all the sound. Because if you see a glass of water next to a speaker and how it ripples, so me putting all these things together, realized that you could use your voice as the tone that moves the water in your body.
Right. Okay.
And so I'd go into steam rooms wherever I got a job in hotels in India, and I'd get to go in the steam room beforehand. I'd start toning in there and using, you know, when I say toning, just going, using the vibrations of my voice to give myself an internal massage.
Okay.
And then in that gig in India, I started to play with, so I'd find a tension, say, in my shoulder here, and then I'd try and direct my tone into the shoulder.
Into the shoulder, okay.
Which the singing teacher had helped me with, that I'd had before, the same one who'd sent me into the shower. She'd get you so relaxed that she could push a muscle that was relaxed, and your voice would change. Your tone would go up. Your body is an instrument.
I don't think most people realize that. I certainly, if you heard me sing, you would realize I never really learned it. So it's not something that most of us really understand and have any experience with.
Yeah. See, but you know what you just said there, Walt? You know, that's one of the reasons I'm passionate about this work as well. When I hear all these people put themselves down, and it's usually because somebody's cast a bad spell on them when they were younger and told them that they couldn't sing. And they believe the spell, and then they have to break the spell by trying, you know, I get people sometimes in my studio, prove to them that they can sing so they can never say that again, you know. So yeah, where were we? So yeah, toning. So I remember when I was in India in these gigs, I'd before the gig, I'd tone into the tension, and then I worked out I could actually sing. Like right now I'm talking to you and I'm using my mind to direct the sound through this shoulder at the same time. So I do the whole gig, try and direct the sound into my muscle ache, and then it'll be gone. So that was partly it. And so that was what I was like, you know, people get these tuning forks and gongs and bowls and everything. I'm like, you've got something here you can use. And so that became a passion. And then
we do tend to overlook that because, like, you're right. I mean, people are looking for, you know, singing bowls and all kinds of stuff like that. And we don't even realize, it never even occurs to us that we already have something that can generate tone, that can generate vibration.
Yes. And we have healing hands as well, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was where it started. I just want everyone to try, like, to use it. And one example I often give is, like, when you hurt yourself, you bang yourself and you go, ouch.
Right.
That's your body's natural response. And it's not just an expression. I think it sends the tone. I think there's your natural healing response is to put the sound in. When childbirth, they talk about, like, making that sound, and people don't know. There's so much in the creation stories of most religions. In the beginning was the word, or in the beginning was the om. There's sound is huge. So once you dig into it and you start to find out all the magic in it and how valuable it is. Oh, yeah, you can see I'm passionate.
We can hear the passion. It's just speaking about sound, we can hear the passion. It's very obvious in your voice, in your tonality as you're expressing it. And your passion is quite contagious too, I might add.
Yes.
For somebody who wants to start exploring this, I mean, do they need to create a steam room? Or, I mean, how do they start exploring the sound from their own body?
Oh, wow. So there's just so much. Like, for example, one of the things, I mean, I talk about these three keys quite often, these three things that, so one of them is, so with just the tones, just using your vibrational tones. Yeah. You could try putting tones into parts of your body that hurt. And just, so you can try, go,
you basically just imagine, like, you have something that hurts, and you imagine that the tone is going there.
Yeah, it takes practice to sort of direct it, but you just sort of send it with your imagination. If you've ever done any of those body scan meditations where you think or even when you're trying to sleep and they try and make you imagine your feet are getting heavier and your legs are getting, and you can do that, but you can add a sound tone to those things and those concentrations. That kind of helps a bit. If it's somewhere you can reach with your hand, you can feel the vibration by making the sound and putting your hand there. And some places are easier than others to access. Then there's the other one, which is super important. If you start noticing how many times you stop yourself from making sounds, like going, and people go, oh God, are you bored? Or, oh, you're really annoyed with me. Or, when someone is annoying you, you might not be able to do it in the room, but you go, ah! And if you start noticing all the sounds you hold in, it's not doing you any good. So then you find places to, like, like some people want to scream, they get in the car, or like, these are all voice release tools. They're huge. They're massive. So that's another way you can heal yourself and give yourself self-healing just by your sexual sounds. People withhold those, but they're actually quite useful. And then sometimes, you can get in trouble for laughing or bodily sounds like burping and, some people. So starting noticing that can be very useful.
Is part of this giving yourself permission to make sounds?
Yeah. And then when you start to notice all the ways you mute yourself, then you might have to choose, do I really want to mute myself here? And I have a choice and make it just a fresh decision. Because often when you're a child, you're a baby, it's like, but then it's like, shut up. So we've got to undo that a little bit and encourage the sound and then notice how we're judging other people and how, it's just goes on and on and on. It's fascinating. But to be your own sound healer. So even just giving yourself hums are really good for you. You hear me at down by the pool or in the jacuzzi, or the other day I was getting my teeth cleaned and they had that buzzy instrument and I kind of counterbalanced it with my own little tone. It's so soothing. You can soothe yourself just with a hum or with it. Yeah, so much.
Yeah, apparently I think we're just starting to get a flavor for how much there is here to explore. Now, you also told me before we got started here that you have a personal mantras service, which I think is an interesting concept. How did that get started? What's that all about?
Okay, so there's the magic of words. You must talk about that in your law of attraction
Oh,
work.
sure.
Yeah. And so also in terms of law of attraction, what you put your attention on grows. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so and then I've mentioned a little bit about bad spells. There's this wonderful quote that they don't know who it came from, but a lot of people think it's Bruce Lee about, be careful about the words you use for yourself. That's why they call it spelling, because there's magical powers in it, right? So I haven't got the quote. I
That's all
paraphrased
right.
terribly. And, but so using the mantra, again, my brain doesn't hold on to things unless I have them in front of me, but that's about repeating something, right? Repeating something. So we've got these phrases. If you create your own mantra, so for example, I have a very simple one that I made up once. It was, I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Right? And so you get this thing, you repeat it. And that's how mantras work, by repetition. You do them you can do them over and over again. Like in the Indian tradition, they might have 108 repetitions of a mantra, right? So if you have these words, like I am enough, I am enough, I am enough, that's powerful. If you put it to music, it's extra powerful, because music fires up different parts of your brain, like more parts of your brain. And then the repetition is powerful. Then there's a thing called neurogenesis, where you build synapses, pathways in your brain. And the nice analogy is water. If it keeps running down a certain pathway, it will start to make a groove.
Sure.
That happens in your brain. So by having your own mantra that you've made, that you want to focus on something that's for you, that's good for you, that you want to feel, then you can create pathways in your brain, and with the music and the words. And then you've got the earworm factor. So, when you have those songs going around your head, whether you want them to or not, you're not even singing them. So what did you say, tinnitus?
No, I said yes. I said yes, I have. I know that feeling of songs running around in my head.
Yeah. So with the mantra, if you've repeated it enough, it will go on without you.
Oh, yeah.
So it's an amazing magical tool to create what you want in your life.
I love that you incorporate melody. You described it as incorporating music, but I think of it in terms of melody, and you actually sang a little melody there with the I am enough. I love that, because there's something about melody that makes it stick, just the way you were describing it. It's what gets that flow going without you even having to sing it. It's just running around in your head, because melodies have, a good melody has what they call a hook. It hooks you right in, and you just can't stop thinking about it, because it's such a good hook. It's got you. It's got you by the tentacles. I mean, it's just really, really got you. That's what melody does. And honestly, my biggest frustration with a lot of the modern music is that a lot of it skips melody. I'm like, no, don't skip the melody. Melody's like that. That's where the magic happens. I mean, yeah, beat is great and all that kind of stuff, but melody
and rhythm. Yeah, they're what I love the most. I'm not so interested in lyrics, actually, even though I'm a singer. I don't use lyrics. I mean, I learn lyrics of the songs that I have to sing, and I write lyrics. Yeah. But when some of my favorite albums, I don't even know what the lyrics are unless I have to sing them. It's just the melody and the rhythm is what does it for me, and the interlacing of melody. So I hear you. And then when I'm with my people who don't even consider themselves musical, I can help draw their mantras out of them with their own melodies.
With their own melodies. Oh, that's really cool.
Yes, because people naturally don't realize how powerful their voices are. They don't realize they have this amazing wisdom that can come out of their mouth, and this natural musicality as well.
I believe that. I believe that is true. And you correctly pointed out earlier that I was kind of, beating myself down about not having a great singing voice. So I'll counter that by playing myself up. I am very good at being able to imagine melody and chording and orchestration in my head. And I like sitting down at a keyboard, like picking it out. It's like, okay, can I put all this together and actually express it through a keyboard? That's a lot of fun for me. What I don't think most people realize is that really anybody can do it. It's just that we don't trust ourselves to do it. We don't believe that it's really possible.
That's right. And that's, my delight is getting people to see that they can do it. It's so nice. It's so good.
Okay. I wish most people can only hear this. They can only, which is appropriate because we're talking about sound, but they can't see your face. I wish that most of the people hearing this podcast could see your face as you're saying that, because your face is just delicious with excitement as you say it.
Yes, I do light up. Yeah.
You have a very expressive face. Okay, so if you're working with somebody to bring out that personal mantra, walk us through that. How does that process work?
Would you like to play with me, Walt?
Sure. Yeah, I'll be your test subject. Why not?
I tell you what, right? I have managed to help get it out of someone in 20 minutes. So,
okay.
But it can be done. It can be done even less, and you've got that musicality that you've described to me as well.
Okay.
So, my favorite way to do it is to go into a pain point, is to help them find something that feels yucky. I did it with my friend today. Actually, it was brilliant. And so, just to go somewhere that's really not nice for you, because that's what we're going to flip it around. So I know sometimes with law of attraction, people don't want to talk about things that are yucky.
Well, I can think of something that comes right to mind because it's fairly recent. About 9 months ago, my wife left me and we became divorced in February. And while I've worked through almost all of that, so I'm pretty good with it. If I think about it, there's a definite sadness attached to that. There's a sense of loss, a sense of pain. Yeah.
Okay, so you said sadness, loss, and pain. I'm wondering if I need to write something down just in case. So you said sadness and loss and pain.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit more about that feeling that you have.
Well, let's see. When I allow myself to go there, there's a sense of hopelessness that I tend to feel there. A sense of heavy loss that is insuperable, can't be overcome.
Oh, can't be overcome.
Yeah, which I know isn't true, but you asked what the feeling is, and that's what the feeling is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So heavy loss, hopelessness, and it can't be overcome. So tell me, when you say hopelessness that you couldn't find love.
Hopelessness is about the best way I could think of to say it, but maybe a better way to say it would be unresolvable frustration, because it feels like there's a strong disappointment that the relationship ended because it felt like the journey wasn't over. It felt like there was more to be done, and we cut ourselves off from that, and that's forever gone.
Yeah, more to be done. And forever gone. Okay, I'm feeling it with you. My, I can feel it in my heart, in my chest. So you know that I can. I'm feeling it with you. So if you were to flip that, if you were to turn, I'll just read them back to you, okay?
Okay.
You said sadness, loss, pain, hopelessness, heavy loss, can't be overcome, unresolvable frustration, the journey wasn't over, more to be done, forever gone. So if you took those things, and I can say them slower and again, and you could turn them around to be something that you would want instead of them. So I just give you them again because it's better if you can. So for example, if there was, we're not trying to be unrealistic here, but you mentioned sadness and loss and pain.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could turn those around, what would you have?
This is actually part of what I have done in terms of doing the work to get past all of this.
Yeah.
And there are a number of answers that I've come up with. I can list a few of them for you here. One is a realization that, as painful as it was, it's working out for the best. It's working out in a way that it could not have worked out before. Yeah. So there's actually potential, and there's hopefulness.
Oh, that's a good word. Potential is a good sexy word. Potential.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, let's think what else. You said hopelessness and a heavy loss, and it can't
And
be
the
overcome.
hopelessness has turned into hopefulness.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a direct twist on that. Yeah.
Hopefulness. Yeah, that makes sense. Hopeful for what? Just give me a sense of what you would be hoping for.
One of the things that I noticed shortly after the trauma of the event happened when she left is how much I had attracted it. Unwittingly,
How
but
much you'd attracted.
I had attracted the event of her leaving.
Yes. And so what hope I'm bringing you
And
back?
so one of the things that I noticed was there were a number of asks that I had in my life that the only way really for the universe to deliver, because the universe is always looking to deliver everything, and the universe is always looking for the path of least resistance to deliver it. And the path of least resistance for most of the things I was asking for included a life where my ex-wife wasn't a part of it.
Yes. Okay. So, I love that one. Oh my God, I accidentally deleted a word. That was lovely. So,
Yeah.
that was hopefulness that I deleted. So that was beautiful. So some of those things that you wanted that are now available, or to you, would you like to name any of that in this podcast?
Well, sure. I've actually described a number of them in previous episodes of the podcast, particularly when I let everybody know about this at the end of last year. They were all areas that ended up being upended as a result of that one main incident. So, my income disappeared. My home that I was living in was it was a lease, and the lease was about to expire. My vehicle was on its last legs. There were issues with the pets that we had that had to be dealt with. Literally all the main things that we count on, because we're looking always at all times to make sure that our basics are covered. All of my basics were uncovered, every single one of them. And so in order to get to a place where they would start to be covered, I had to obviously bring myself into vibrational alignment with that. And that's when I started noticing all the different ways I had been asking for things in each of those areas that could only be achieved without my ex-wife being part of the picture.
Okay,
so once
so
I
how can you put that, do you think, in a sentence?
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to condense it down.
Yeah, go on, okay.
So once I understood that, then it became, okay, what can I do to appreciate each of those transition periods? And appreciation became a big part of the picture, which it always does, I find. Appreciation is always a big part of any kind of major change for the better, particularly when you're trying to attract something. So I began to appreciate the fact that despite it, I didn't like the relationship ending. It was setting me up for a better income, which it has done. It was setting me up for a different place to live, which it has done. It was setting me up for a place where I could actually improve health, which was something I wanted to do, which it has done. It set me up for a place where issues with these pets that we had would resolve, and that has also happened. All these things, the vehicles, the new vehicle that came out of it, that came out because, again, I found ways to appreciate every single step of the way here.
Okay,
so
great.
That's a long-winded way of saying appreciation became a big, big part of the whole thing.
So I'm hearing that you've done the work, but there's still some pain there.
But so it's sort of a residual dust kind of thing.
Yeah. So what would you like? Would you like to? Is there anything you would like to attract into your life based on this journey that you've been describing to me, which moved already from loss, pain, sadness, hopelessness to hopefulness, potential, appreciation, health, income, and home, stability, and a bit, appreciation, all of that. So in that space, if you wanted to give yourself some soothing or create something, because this is the throat chakra, is the mantra of manifestation as well. It's the chakra of manifestation. In order for anything to come into creation, it needs to be spoken. It needs to be expressed. So in terms of that, you've done a lot of it already. Like, you've done a lot of the work, but we could create a mantra for you that just every time the pain is there, you could sing yourself reminders of all the beautiful things you have, or you could even take it another step forward and call in the next thing you want in your life. I'm
Well,
wondering
that's
about
easy.
love.
That's
Yeah,
easy.
go
Well,
on.
you're on the right track. That's the one thing that has not yet fallen into place. I want that next primary relationship.
You do. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next primary relationship. Let's write that. I've found somewhere to put this so I can write it down and still face you. Next primary relationship. Now I'm getting tingles in not tingles, but a kind of different charge in my body.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm feeling it. So now if you have that, like you know what it's like with law of attraction. You have to feel the things you want. Right. So I feel to describe me the feeling of this next primary relationship.
How do you describe that? That's always a challenge, isn't it? How does that feel? Well, it feels
Just
great.
take yourself there. Look, yeah, go on. Just say it feels great. It's great.
It feels great. It feels exciting.
Great. Exciting.
It feels, well, exciting is almost too calm. It's more like exhilarating.
Exhilarating is a good word, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's feeling filled up with love.
Filled up with love.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stop you even here. You can carry on if you want, because we'll see what happens. You'll do it. All right. You ready? You've got, it feels great, exciting, exhilarating, filled up with love. And what is it? So we've got next primary relationship feels great, exciting, exhilarating, filled up with love. Already working with that energy. Would it be something like my next primary relationship is exhilarating? Like if you were to just start to see how you would develop your own mantra.
Oh, I see.
What is it my next primary relationship, or my new love is, or what would come out of your mouth, do you think?
I have no idea.
She is, or, what about describing the bit about the person? Is it a female?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
definitely a female.
Yeah. So is next primary relationship in the mantra, or you could just be like, this feels great. It's exciting, exhilarating. I'm trying to tease it out of you now.
Yeah. I'm trying to tap in so I can find a way to express it.
You could tell me some more words if you want. We've got feels great, exciting, exhilarating, filled up with love. It could be like, I'm filled up with love because it's exciting and exhilarating. Exhilarating is a funny word because it's quite hard to make rhythmically, but
yeah, it doesn't have a very good scansion to it, unfortunately, but no.
And we could just keep it there for now. Would you like to describe some more of the feeling?
Yeah, let's see.
Let's go.
Part of the feeling is a feeling of safety.
Safety. Yeah. I feel safe. I feel excited. Excited wasn't big enough word. That's what you said.
Right.
So excited might not be enough, I'm filled up with love. I feel safe and it feels great. Or who knows?
Anticipation. That's a big part of it.
Anticipation. I'm anticipating. Is that, would you be able to tell yourself that you're anticipating? What are you anticipating?
I don't know. I can hardly wait to find out.
I can hardly wait to find out. I'm not going to write that one down because I can hardly wait to find out. It's not going to manifest quite the same way. I can hardly wait to find out. But it would be like, I'm discovering could be a good word. Like I'm discovering, or because we're using it as magic words. These are magic words.
Okay.
So I'm anticipating, or I'm, I've met the love I've been anticipating, or I don't know, let's see, I'm filled up with love, safe, excited, exhilarating.
I have a Carole King song running through my head, Anticipation.
Anticipation is a good word, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then that anticipation goes well with exhilaration.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So then now it works, the word exhilaration, anticipation,
okay.
exhilaration. So it could be, I feel anticipation for my exhilaration. And that could be your mantra. But you're making it up.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Anticipation for my exhilaration. Ooh.
Ooh, I like the way you went, ooh. That's a good sign. But say if you said anticipation for my exhilaration, say if you said that, would it be I'm feeling, I have, or there is, I've got?
I don't know. I honestly, I'm not sure I would actually attach a subject predicate like that.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, keep going.
I mean, when you said the phrase anticipation for my exhilaration, that caught my attention.
Okay, so let's go with that. So I wonder what it would sound like. I have to make it sound terrible so you can improve it. Anticipation for my exhilaration. So now, that doesn't really work. Anticipation for my exhilaration. Because you told me you like melody.
Yes, I do like melody. It is true.
So sometimes it helps. You could just see what comes out of you. Or sometimes you could think of a music that you could start to imagine your own soundscape. Or you think of a song you like that's got a nice...
I've shrunk it down to anticipate, exhilarate.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you see, you taking it in your own hands. Anticipate, exhilarate. Yeah. Is that it? Is that all that's in it, do you think?
So far.
Yeah. Anticipate, exhilarate. Do you think if you said anticipate, exhilarate to yourself a lot of times and sang it, do you think it would make you feel good?
Oh, sure.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So keep going then. Anticipate. So what about the rhythm? Anticipate, exhilarate. Or is it anticipate, exhilarate? How was it? Let's speak it with rhythm.
Anticipate, exhilarate.
Okay, we're getting so...
Exhilarate. Yeah, that's the way it feels to me. Anticipate, exhilarate. So emphasis on the second syllable.
Anticipate, exhilarate.
Yeah.
So now where's the melody? Is it anticipate, exhilarate? Yeah. Or has it got more melody to it?
Anticipate, exhilarate. Anticipate, exhilarate.
Anticipate, exhilarate.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's the first one that comes to my mind.
Come on, let's do it a bit more. Anticipate. Teach it to me.
And anticipate, exhilarate.
Anticipate, exhilarate. What's that bit?
Exhilarate. I'm just bringing back to the tonic.
Exhilarate. I'm hearing anticipate, exhilarate.
That's the one, yeah.
Anticipate, exhilarate. Oh no, is it anticipate? So can you do it for me to teach me the rhythm? Anticipate.
Anticipate, exhilarate. Anticipate, exhilarate. Anticipate, exhilarate.
Yes, okay. That's your mantra. Anticipate.
Okay. That's cool. Now I'm going to have that running around my head.
Anticipate, exhilarate. You can do all sorts of things. So that if that's your first stage, then you can put music to it. I wonder what kind of music it would have. Anticipate, exhilarate. Am I clicking in the right place? What's the rhythm like? You could shake your head to it. Anticipate.
For me, when I'm composing, I don't really think about rhythm. I think about chording. And I ask myself, how would I want to use the chording? Because it's basically a 2-chord pattern there going on. So I'd probably turn it into some kind of a rhythmic arpeggio kind of a thing. I'm not sure exactly what. I have to sit at a keyboard and play with it first.
Well, I hope you do, Walt.
I'm going to. And
because the feeling is delicious, when you just, and then when you're singing it, you're just going to feel that anticipation and that exhilaration, and it's going to be yummy. And then when you put the music to it, it starts to, it expands in your mind. It expands, the musicscape I'm thinking of. It's going to expand in your mind and in your cells and your body. You know what music does? You might start dancing to it, and who knows?
That's actually one of the fun parts for me of playing a keyboard, for instance, is playing around with a theme, because that's what we just created. We created a little theme, and then feeling, just through trying different note combinations, feeling what you can do with it. What can you mold it into? What kind of a shape can you create with it?
Listen, brother, you better get in contact with me after this and tell me what it sounds like. I want to hear it.
You want to hear it? Okay.
Oh my, yes. I really want to hear it. I have a dream, and my dream is to help people create their own mantras. And I do a bit music production, and so I can produce them for them. I've got two versions, but there's one going to be my lo-fi. I do it on GarageBand and put it all together. And another one would be to like get my engineer to mix it and a musician to play an instrument on it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd like to make an album, and people who never once thought that they were going to be a songwriter. I want to sing them. Like for me, I want to sing everybody's mantras for them. But also they could potentially sing them with me. That's also possible. But I'd like to turn them all into songs that Alison David sings, and release an album of everyone's mantras, so that you'll be looking on Spotify and you'll see these, you who never knew you were, not you, because we know you are a music writer, but people who've never thought of themselves as a songwriter have created mantras that are on Spotify. There's a whole album and it's got their name as a credit.
Right.
And, that's my dream. That's what I'm planning.
That's very cool. I really like that a lot.
And they're so valuable. Some of the ones I've got from my clients, we would know that feeling. My simple one, I am enough. I need permission from each client to tell me that I can share their mantras. But so I have some that will be able to do that with me, but I'm just going to check in with them all.
Sure, of course.
But yeah, they're so beautiful that most people would want to hear them and sing them. And then, so the album will be so encouraging for so many people. Like, I am enough, I am enough, I am enough, I am enough. I've got a few that I've made.
By the way, you mentioned GarageBand, which most people may not know what that is, but it's an app that you can download. It's primarily designed, I believe, for the Mac, but there's also a version for the PC. And yeah. But the GarageBand is basically a way for anybody who has any interest in trying to create any kind of sounds to do it, and to do it musically, to actually create a musical track. It'll actually build in a drum track for you if you want to have a drum track. I mean, it literally does all this cool stuff. And most people don't even know about it.
Yeah, and I use my mobile phone to do that. So I have and my iPad, but the mobile phone's great because it's there with me, and I've got an idea. I have one record called Everything Always Works Out for Me, which is on my album, which is called 4Ms. It's mantras, meditations, and mindful moments. And one of the tracks is Everything Always Works Out for Me. Everything always works out for me. And I completely created it so that I could play it and repeat for half an hour to make myself feel better about what was going on in the present moment. But I recorded the vocal using my headphone mic, and it was the right vocal. I did it in bed on my iPad, and I just got an engineer to make it sound way better. But I never used a proper studio mic for that particular song because so GarageBand's pretty amazing these days.
It is. It's a remarkable piece of software. It really is. I also need to do a shout out. One of our live stream listeners, Eileen, took my phrase and added something to it. So she said, "Anticipate, exhilarate with my lovely date." And I wanted to
yes, that's great, Eileen. I love it. Yes.
Well, thank you for taking my phrase and turning it into something even lovelier. That was great.
Yes, isn't that? You might find when you're at your keyboard.
Oh, I'm sure that will stick with me. Yeah, that will come through at some point. Yeah.
And then when you release it on my lovely album, where or whatever, then you could put Eileen gets a songwriting credit.
Absolutely, sure. I love it. So that's a very cool service then. How'd you end up starting this whole personal mantra thing? It's a very novel idea.
I know, it just fell out of when the beautiful thing about the pathway, it just unfolds, doesn't it? So as you I started telling you about the voice healing tool and wanting to get I want to get everyone toning and releasing their sounds. Started with that. Then it was like, hang on, the word thing is super important. So I want to get people using their words. And my 3 keys are like sounds, words, and music or melody, I guess, but music in general, like a super useful way of transmitting sound. And so it just kind of evolved into that. I made my album, that song I described, Everything Always Works Out for Me. I made it because I was in a really tough moment and I needed to remind myself that, you know, you just like your story of your divorce, or your separation. Basically when you're in a terrible place, you forget, but when you look back on some things that happened in your life that were terrible, they did work out.
They do, yeah.
So I was like here in this place feeling terrible, but I know it's going to work out. So if I sing Everything Always Works Out for Me,
Okay.
and it also has and breathe.
Yes, good advice.
Yeah, exactly. And then if I have that, then I can use it as medicine for myself to relax myself, to calm myself down. So that was that. So I created a few of those, and I've used them. There's 5 on the album that are there, but it's principally 2 that were there to really soothe me when I was feeling in trouble. Okay. So that was for the soothing. And then, I don't know, music, it's just, you know, working with people to free their voices, right? When you access this tool, things start to manifest in your life. So when I started to observe the magic that starts happening when people activate this voice of theirs, and starting to uncover this whole magic of sound, it just started to become obvious that I needed to sing what I needed in my life. So I had this one, I made one the other day. I was helping another woman. She was giving a masterclass and she was saying, you know, take these negative beliefs, rewrite them as positive beliefs. And so there were mine. I wrote them down and then I rewrote them as positive beliefs. And she said, oh, why don't you just record them and speak them into your voice recorder? And then I can't do that without singing them. So then it turns out,
okay.
And then I was on my garage band making new music to go with it. and I'm like, this is so fun. And that one I made up. I had 5 lines or something. It became, I am financially abundant. I have my right clients looking for me. I am focused and aligned and work flows easily. I am learning and growing and it is showing in my client uptake. I give my heart when I give my time and it's reflected in the money I make. It's still 5 seconds.
Yeah. I love it.
But actually I've moved on to 2 more since then, you know, because once you get into it, it's just, you want something to happen in your life and you sing it, it starts to happen. It's magic. It's absolute magic.
It not only does it start to happen, and whether you're talking about singing or talking or anything that you're doing to focus in that way, what also happens is your ask changes.
Yeah.
Right? Because you get data, you get some information, and then the information helps you to refine the original ask. Say, well, that's almost what I really want, but what I really want, here's the refined version. And then over time it starts to evolve creatively.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, I made one up a few days ago. I was feeling a bit worried about money. I had an amazing influx of clients and I spent the money quite quickly. And then and I was in this real abundant place and then I was like back into lack, you know. So I allowed myself to feel all the horrible feelings, but wrote them down and then I wrote the opposites. And the one I made up 2 days ago or 3 days ago was, I love money. Money is my friend. We play fun games together and I don't need to pretend. I'm coming out of the closet confident and free because I love money and money loves me.
Woo! All right.
And that's what happens every time I sang it. I just laugh.
Yeah.
So I moved from this place of like tension to fun.
Yes. And that's a great transition to do because when you make that transition, first of all, you're changing the vibration, which is exactly what you wanted to accomplish. And more than that, you're changing the way you think about the vibration. the way you
Yeah.
feel about the vibration, because you're singing it, which
Yeah.
is, oh, what a gift. That's a wonderful
Yeah,
gift.
it's so fun. That's why I'm passionate. Like I already love, I love my job singing, but then when I created my Free Your True Voice coaching program and working
Mm.
with people hand in hand, like watching their progress, I loved it more than anything. I thought I was doing the best thing I could ever do in my life, like really living my purpose. And then when this mantra creation thing came up for me, which I did with my clients, but to actually make the records and to sit and produce and then now I'm in like the next level of heaven.
Yeah.
It's like the best thing ever, 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 ever.
Fantastic. I love
Yeah.
it. But we're kind of running short on time, but I want to get this in. Talk about the coaching program. If somebody wants, first of all, if they want to find out about it, how do they find out about it? And talk about what you actually do in that program.
Well, so interesting. There's so many things, but basically I coach privately people, but there is a bit of a group as well. There's some group
Oh, a
stuff that
little
we
both.
do.
Okay.
But it is a private coaching program. So each of my people, they're visionaries and creatives.
Okay.
And yeah, so visionary is someone who just wants to see a better world.
Mm-hmm.
Creatives is someone who has ideas. And so they're the people that I attract. And then I just help them give voice to them to anything.
Okay.
So it's very different. Some of them sing with me. All of them find out what they really want and they learn to refine their own natural wisdom.
Mm.
And they learn to set boundaries and they sing their own mantras and they learn to soothe themselves with their voices and also give birth to their creative projects. And I'm like a midwife to their creative project because I get to be the first person to witness.
Oh, yeah. Front row
So
seat.
very different for each person, but that's, some are online, some are in person. And it's just wonderful to watch and witness the transformation in them. And confidence is the one thing that really joins them all. They become more confident in their true wisdom, their true gifts.
Very cool. Very cool. So if somebody is listening in and wants to explore that more, how do they find out about that?
Probably the best and easiest way to do it for a listener is to go to my website, alisondavid.com, because there's a button you can click to have a conversation, a find your voice conversation with me. The mantra that there's somewhere you can create your own mantra. You can buy that session with me to create your mantra. That's coming up on the website. But to just talk to me, there's a button that says, book a call with me. It's a find your voice call. And we can take it from there, really.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant. I'll make sure that we include the URL in the show notes so that people can find it easily in case somebody's listening in and says, I want to give that a shot. Really good. Hey, Alison, thank you for joining me on the program, for helping me discover the beginnings of my own personal mantra song. I like that.
Please let me know about it, how it goes. Please.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Give me some time. I don't necessarily compose quickly. It takes a while, but I will definitely.
It doesn't matter how long it takes. Yeah, I would like to hear it.
Sure. Yeah. I let the spirit move me. If I'm feeling it that day, then I start working on it. That's really
absolutely. Well, that's the trusting your true voice.
Right.
It knows when it wants to speak and it knows what it has to say.
Yep. Exactly right. Something I want to say to you that I like to make a point with all the people who join me on the show, because everybody who comes onto this show is a giver, and you're definitely a giver. You love giving. And so it just comes, you can see, anybody who can see your face can tell you love giving. It's just so much fun for you. But there's a thing about givers that we tend to overlook because, you do other podcasts. I'm sure you have various ways of putting out expression, probably through social media or posts or whatever it is that you're putting stuff out there. And there are people who consume it. You'll never meet, you'll never see, and you're affecting their lives and, for the better, but you never know about it. And we have a tendency as humans to just kind of skip over that. So I like to kind of correct that by saying, on behalf of those that you've never met and that you've never seen, whose lives you have touched that way, thank you for what you've been doing, because you are making a difference in this world.
Thank you. I really appreciate you. Thank you. That's lovely of you to give me that. Thank you.
My pleasure. Our pleasure, actually, for having you on the show. So thank you very much. And thank you to our podcast listeners everywhere. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today.
Bye
Goodbye,
bye.
everybody.